Hello everyone. Today we'll be discussing internal audit and how to form an internal audit function and what are the basic documentation requirement to formalize any department. Now, before starting, I just want to tell you that we are starting from the very basics, and then gradually we'll move to the complex areas, and wherever I can introduce innovation, I will be giving lectures on the innovation separately on that area, so that everyone is well aware how the smart audit is done in the new era. Now, as a starting point, internal audit department or internal audit function is an independent function to provide assurance about risk management, number 2 governance, and number 3 internal control processes. First of all, the very first thing that internal audit department is an independent function. They are not dependent on any of the other department. As an example, they are not dependent on finance function, they are not dependent on the strategy function or risk management function or governance or internal control process functions. Okay. Risk management, governance and internal control processes, they are all different function in a well established organization. In an ideal organization, these should be 3 independent functions. I will give you a brief about these 3 functions as well. Risk management department, basically they are assessing the risk across all the organization at different functional levels, and then they are providing the management with the mitigation plan. What is mitigation plan? The plan will be how the top level management or the middle level management taking care of that specific function can mitigate the risk of failure against the risk. Okay. Governance, to run any of the company or at department level, the company, they have management, and there are certain policies and procedures in place. There is a defined they are called SOPs, as this is the abbreviation which is used for policies and procedures. SOP mean it is standard operating procedures. Then they have certain delegation of authorities at different level, that who can do what based on his authority, and there are configurations in the system as well for these delegation of authorities. So, how the management from the top to the middle level management, or sometimes at the lower level as well, they are controlling one entity. This whole process is called governance. Okay. So, everyone is involved, even at internal audit department level, there is some role to play regarding governance. Okay. I'll tell you what is how each of these departments they are contributing towards the internal audit as well, but let's finish internal control processes. These are the processes in place to control the activities of any of the department or process. So, I will give you an example. There is an internal control for sales process, where if there will be any sales return, it should be approved by the head of sales. Okay. So, this is a control which is there, and the entity should be the department should be abiding by that controls. Okay. The combination of different controls within a process is called internal control process. Okay. Now, the focus of internal audit function is basically there are 4 focuses. Number 1 is operations, number 2 financials aspect of those operations, strategic and compliance. Okay. It can be they can be named as 4 pillars of internal audit as well. So, when any of the internal audit department they are doing any audit, they will be focusing on operations, financials, strategic and compliance part of that process itself. Okay. So, by process I means, again I will tell you, sales process, hiring process, purchase process and other processes. Okay. Reporting lines. Internal audit function is ideally reporting to the board of directors or audit committees. Why? Because they need to be independent. If they will be reporting to the chief financial officer, they can never be independent function. Okay. Now, coming back to risk management, governance and internal control processes, Risk management function, their input is being used by internal audit department to prepare an audit plan. But if the risk management function is not independent, then ideally the audit department, they should not be using their risk assessment as the base of preparing internal audit plan. They should be doing their own internal audit risk assessment for yearly audit plan purposes. Okay, governance. Uh, Whenever the company is or the management, they are preparing SOPs for any of the department, it should be reviewed by the audit department for completeness and for accuracy purposes. We cannot give an accurate view about the completeness of SOPs, that these SOPs can avoid the risk of fraud or error or theft or whatever, but a reasonable assurance can be provided. Then the delegation of authorities, the auditor can review the delegation of authorities, and then they can provide an independent assurance where they can identify certain roles which should be eliminated, or some certain controls or authorities, additional authorities which should be given to different people to perform their duties. Okay, I'll go through in detail once we'll be going through the review of delegation of authority assignment. Okay. Similarly for SOPs, we'll go through in detail. Okay, internal control processes. The companies in the modern era, they are having a business excellence department to take care of governance and internal control processes. So these two functions, governance and internal control processes, they are coming under one department. I have seen different entities having business excellence, as I mentioned earlier, but the risk management function is altogether a different department. Chief audit executive, he is not reporting to the risk manager or the business excellence manager or head of business excellence. These are three independent functions. Okay, you should all be very clear on this. If someone is of the opinion that risk management head should report to chief audit executive, it's wrong. Okay, now moving towards the next slide. Formation of internal audit function from scratch. Each company needs to have an independent function like internal audit, who can assess those three functions or four different pillars of internal audit which I have mentioned in the previous slide. How they can form an internal audit department? First of all, the management, they need to hire qualified and skilled professionals. Once the hiring process is done, the head of internal audit needs to formalize this function. How he can formalize this function? It can be done through an internal audit charter, which is the base of an internal audit department. And the second thing is the internal audit policies and procedures. Both these documents, they are the base of any of the department. As I mentioned in the previous slide, that internal audit has some role to play in governance process as well. So the governance of internal audit function, it is being based on these two documents. One is internal audit charter, and the second one is internal audit policies and procedures. Okay, today we'll be discussing internal audit charter. Okay, it's a document, it's a formal document. You can find the standard document on IIA website. They are constantly doing changes in this, but as of today, the major content of this charter or this document, I will explain briefly about them. I'll tell you that this internal audit charter needs to be prepared by the chief internal audit head, and it needs to be signed by the audit committee members, or at least by the chair of the audit committee or the board of directors. Okay, based on the reporting lines of internal audit function. Now, the first thing which this document explains is the role of internal audit. The role is the same as we have described in the definition of internal audit function, that it should be independent function, and it has different roles and responsibilities. Our chief audit executive can mention the major area of focus of internal audit. It might be operational audits, IT audits, compliance reviews, fraud investigations, special assignments, and advisories, and these sort of stuff, if you want to be more specific with the audit committee to avoid any confusion in the future. Second thing is the professionalism. The internal audit department should be doing their work based on professional code of ethics. Now this is very important thing. Okay, each of the department is governed by certain rules and certain principles. So for internal auditors, the professionalism falls into 3 4 different categories. Number one is integrity, that the internal auditor should be honest in all cases. I'm using very simple language so that everyone is understanding it properly. The second one is objectivity, that internal auditors should be not only looking the negative aspect of one assignment, they should also be looking at the other aspect. So it, maybe I haven't used the correct word, but they should assess both sides of any of the process or document or area which they are doing, okay, or auditing. The third one is confidentiality. Whatever information is shared with the internal auditors, they should not share outside the entity, and sometimes they should not share even with their own team members who are not working on that assignment, based on the sensitivity of the information. For example, if an internal auditor is doing one investigation and he has got one piece of information which is very confidential, it should not be shared with any of the other team members who are working on different assignments, because sharing the information with them can lead to the leakage of this information, which can harm our professionalism. Competency, this is the fourth one. We should always maintain our knowledge, skills and experience at a level acceptable to maintain high standards. Okay, so how we can do it? By continuous learning, getting new certifications. We can have different forums where we can have discussion about the innovation. uh, it's a continuous professional growth thing which auditors should have. I have seen certain auditors, very successful auditors, having zero qualification, having nil qualification regarding internal audit, but still their vision, their scope of work, or their way of thinking is far better than a qualified auditor having 10 different certifications from different institutes. Okay, so competency needs to be maintained at a certain level. Okay, uh, now organization, the fourth part of internal audit charter, in how the department will be run by a chief audit executive. So it can give us an idea about the organization of internal audit department itself, that who will be reporting to him, whom. For understanding purpose, uh, just uh, just understand that the the structure of internal audit department in terms of reporting lines and in terms of roles and responsibilities, and the other tasks which each of the auditor needs to be performed, they are the summary of that is mentioned in organization part. Okay, now the charter, it has mentioned specifically again on independence from and objectivity. It's the same thing, but these two are the major things which auditor needs to to maintain all the time. Okay, internal audit plan. It In the internal audit charter, the chief audit executive will mention that the audit department will be preparing an yearly or half yearly or quarterly audit plan based on the risk assessment results from the risk management function or the internal audit department's own risk assessment, and uh, the department will be doing the audit based on the audit plan. This audit plan needs to be approved by the audit committee members as well. Okay, but it doesn't mean that whatever audit plan you have prepared, you have to stuck to that. There might be certain changes in the risk assessment, or there might be some new incident, let's say COVID-19 thing, uh, which will emerge out and you need to change your audit plan. There might be an entity which was planned at the start of the year to be audited, but that entity or function is no more, so there is no need to conduct an audit. Sometimes you need to merge some audits. As an example, if two audits were planned at the start of the year, one is sales and another one is receivable. Now based on the integration of the IT system, these two audits can be done as one audit, and and auditor can identify certain weaknesses in both these processes because they are dependent on each other, sales and receivables part. So these auditors should be joined together. Okay. The progress of internal audit plan should be monitored by audit committee members during the audit committee meetings. Mostly they are done on quarterly basis, and the exceptions to the audit plan or the changes in the audit plan also needs to be reviewed and approved by the audit committee members. Reporting and monitoring, it's a very important thing to learn. uh, Internal audit department, whenever they are doing an audit, they are preparing reports. The report has three phases. One is the draft phase of the audit report. Once you are done with an audit of any process, ideally you should discuss this report with that process management itself first of all, rather than taking it to the audit committee members. So there should be an exit meeting where all the observations, the risks identified and the recommendations by internal audit department should be discussed with the process owners. Once they will agree on each and every observation, then only the draft report first of all should be shared with the process owners, copying the management. Okay. For example, if you are doing a sales audit, the draft report initially should be discussed with the sales management as a whole during the exit meeting. If they are there is a disagreement between the auditor and the process owner regarding any of the content of the report, it should be addressed properly. Once everything is refined, then only the draft report should be shared by the auditor with the audit committee, or with the process owners. Ideally, this report should be sent to the sales manager if in case you are doing sales audit, and it should be copied to the chief audit executive and the head of sales department. Okay. Now the second phase is that the the process owner or the sales manager, he will come up with his action plan. So this action plan should be based on the recommendations by the auditor, or it should be something different. So if the action plan is the same, then you should review and you should finalize the report. If the action plan is different, the auditor needs to be assessed that the alternative action plan given by the management is addressing the risk or the audit observation which has been identified. Okay. If it is addressing, then it's fine. Okay. But everyone should be on the same page again. Now this draft report, once the draft report is finalized with the management comments, then the final report should be shared with the audit committee members. Now in the modern world, where audit committee members are mostly from board of directors, they don't have time to go through the whole report. So what we were doing, we were preparing an executive summary where top 5 high risk observations were highlighted to the management in a summarized way, and we were only giving a brief, maybe the heading of all the other observations along with their risk ratings, and sharing with the audit committee members. Okay. So this is monitoring. It's a whole big process which needs to be covered independently, again through a different lecture. We'll go through in detail. Monitoring is the follow-up process. It is referring to the follow-up process. Once you are done with issuing the final report to the top management, copying the process owner, then after each quarter, ideally on quarterly basis, the auditor should follow up on the status of the implementation with the management. What do I mean here? It means that the management, against the observation of internal audit department, the management has agreed to give to an action plan. So that action plan needs to be followed up whether they have implemented that action plan or not, because against each action plan the management will provide the timeline and the responsible person. So we should follow up based on the commitment from the management at the stage of the finalization of draft or final report. Okay. So whatever whatever recommendation of the auditor is due, it should be followed up on quarterly basis, ideally on quarterly basis. But I have seen what I have seen that recently the systems, internal audit systems, they are automated. and the follow up is also a regular exercise rather on quarterly basis or on half yearly basis or yearly basis or whatever. Okay, so we'll discuss the automation part or the innovation part which we have introduced recently in the follow up process, reporting and follow up process as well. Okay, now quality assurance and improvement plan, the last thing. You know that internal audit department, they are uh, doing they are independent function and they are giving an independent assurance to the management about other departments. So what about the assurance, quality assurance about internal audit function? So internal audit function should be accountable to certain things as well. So as part of quality assurance, the internal audit function ideally should be assessed for quality by an external consultant. Mostly a big four, Ernst and Young, PwC, Deloitte, KPMG, and I have seen other firms as well. They have a separate function who are doing quality assurance for internal audit functions. So their team will come. After the appointment, their team will come for a visit or physical visit to internal audit function. They will assess certain documents including internal audit charter, the policies and procedures, and they will assess the qualifications of the team members. They will conduct interviews as well for the team members. Then they will take on sample basis, they will select 4 or 5 different files of different audits, and they will assess each and every file including working papers, RECME, you are calling RCM, it is called RECME as well, the audit reports, the follow-up procedures, okay, the internal quality assurance, how many times the working paper or reports have been reviewed internally by the audit team members at different levels, and what was the role of chief audit executive in review, and how this report has been communicated to different levels of management, what are the protocols followed here. Okay, so sorry sorry. Okay, so here everything is being assessed by the external consultant, and accordingly they are providing quality assurance report to the audit committee members. Basically they are giving a rating. Recently our department was assessed by PwC Dubai, and we were rated as one of the best department in MENA section. Okay, so we can go through the quality assurance process as well at later stage, but this lecture today, it was planned to give you an idea about internal audit function. Okay, only note, we are not going into complexities. I have tried my level best to be very simple. So just in case if you have any question, any concern, any uh, area which you feel that I have missed, you can mention so that I can incorporate those I can address those areas in other lectures. Okay, thank you very much for your time. Take care. Bye.